My weirdest story, though, people say, who's the weirdest? Like, what's the weirdest thing? Is one time Rob Schneider came to the studio to do an interview.
Okay.
And
I've heard some things about him.
He's very interesting. So first things first, before I get into any of this, talking shit, he was very nice. Mm-hmm. He really was truly nice to everyone. He smiled, shook hands, and, was like very interactive.
Yeah.
Too interactive is what I'm going to get at.
Okay.
So first things first, before he gets there, him and his handlers have him down in the parking garage, and our intern at the time goes down to get him, and our intern is an idiot. And I mean, this was years ago. He's not even, but he's like, hey, I'm looking for Rob Schneider. He didn't know who Rob Schneider was. And Rob's like, yeah. And he goes, you're the guy. Oh my God. Was it Dodgeball? What was he in? He's in a bunch of stuff. It was what was the babysitter? Oh no. He was like, are you Rob Schneider from, and it was a random Adam Sandler movie. It wasn't, are you Rob Schneider from SNL?
Oh, yeah. No, he was, God, what was the name of that movie?
You know what I'm
Deuce Bigelow.
Yeah, but he didn't even say that. It was a random, oh, you were in this Adam Sandler movie doing a cameo, because he's good friends with Adam Sandler. So he puts all of his boys in his movies, which is brilliant. And I love that.
Yeah, like Big Daddy.
Yeah, something like that. And he's like, oh, you're the guy from Big Daddy. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And immediately is slightly high maintenance, because we offer him water, and he's like, I only drink water with a certain pH balance. And we're like, oh, which water do you drink? And he's like, gives us a list. I only drink this and this. So we literally had to send our intern to the store to go buy him a bottle of water.
Sure.
So that's a little high maintenance, but he knows exactly what goes into his body. So I say that because as we're doing the interview, we are only doing a 5 to 8 minute interview, and we're going to cut it up. We actually don't do any interviews on our show anymore, unless it's a phoner, or if it's a big, huge artist. If Taylor Swift wanted to come she doesn't have to do interviews, but if she wanted, I think the last person we had in the studio was maybe Macklemore, Big Sean, people like that, when it's a pretty big artist that we would love to interview. But most of the time we don't. We're a jam-packed show. We're kind of funny on our own. We don't need to fill time with interviews.
Yeah.
I think celebrity interviews are great, and some shows are good at them, but that's not our show.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he tells us this whole story about how he's so rich now, he bought a lab, a scientific lab, and he he pays a couple of employees to test everything he eats. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, there's crazy shit in everything. I have my water tested. I have my, if I'm going to eat salmon, I'll take I'll buy it at the store, and I'll take a bit, and I want to see how much mercury is in it. I want to see all this kinds of shit. And he even said himself, he's like, this is what happens when you have too much money. I literally was like, I'm going to spend $1 million on buy a lab. I'm like, what? And so then he talks about his whole tea regimen. And he makes tea, and he loves tea, and he busts out a giant box of tea. And he's like, does anybody want to try white tea? And we're like, sure. He has a fucking teapot. He has everything.
All of it with him?
All of it with him in a bag. And we're like, you bring a tea kit? What is going on here? And he gets the special bottle of water that the intern bought him. He's pouring it in, so everyone has special water, special white tea that's very rare. Talks about the whole process. So we're done with the interview, and he will not leave. He won't leave the studio. We're like, okay, well, that was fun, Rob. Thanks. He's like, yeah. What are we doing next? And we're like, oh, I think we're actually done. We're looking in the other room for the producers. Yeah, I think we're done. The producer's trying to help us and doing this.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah. Producer says we got everything we need, man. Well, thank you. And he's like, well, can I tell you guys a story real quick before I go? And we're like, okay, sure, yeah. You're not going to kick Rob Schneider out. He's still a really big fucking deal. And this is what I'm trying to get at. He tells us a story, and he says,
is this on air?
Okay, so this was being taped to air.
Okay.
So I think we edited this all out.
Pre-recorded.
Yeah, thank goodness, right? Because, he did do 5 minutes live, and then he wanted to talk. We're like, okay, hit record, right?
It's going to be a bomb. I can already tell.
He tells us a story. He's like, I had a buddy once who was sitting down in his couch, and all of a sudden this cat, comes across his legs and is meowing like crazy, like a feral cat, just these loud meows. But my buddy doesn't own a cat. And we're like, huh. And he's like, And this cat won't leave him alone, and it's purring, and it's all on his legs, and he's trying to think what's going on with this cat. And then all of a sudden, the cat bites him, and he's like, ouch. And so he's trying to let the cat out. The cat starts to like claw at him, and like is like aggressively meowing. Like it's like not an attack, but it's a very aggressive, like, dude, get the fuck off me, cat. Mm-hmm. He goes, and then the cat jumped up on his leg. So and Rob is like laughing this whole time, by the way. He's like, and so he starts strangling the cat, right? And the cat's going, meow, and my buddy is struggling with this cat, and he's strangling it until the cat stops moving, right? And literally the cat is just motionless.
He's laughing?
And we're like, where's the funny part in this? Yeah, he's laughing. And he goes, and here's the thing. So then he's looking at the cat going, oh shoot, now I need to get rid of this cat. And then all of a sudden he sees the stomach start moving. And the stomach is moving more and more. And he realizes the cat's pregnant. And he's cracking up, and all of us are fucking horrified, bro. We're like, oh, and me, I'm the laugh guy. So I'm like trying to pity laugh, which normally I don't need to. But I'm like, oh, crazy Rob Schneider. That's a crazy story. And he's like, and apparently he tried to take it to the vet, or he dropped it off. But yeah, apparently the cat was like feral and pregnant and was like in heat or whatever, all these things. And so, yeah, man, my buddy ended up killing a pregnant cat, and it was just crazy. And we were like horrified, right? So Brooke is trying to get him out of the studio now, right? We're like, okay, we don't think anything else he's gonna say is gonna be really contributional to the show. So literally Brooke's like, hey, follow me. Let me show you like the rest of the studios, right? So she's literally, so he has to pack up his tea kit and shit. Yeah. And he gets all the stuff together.
Oh yeah, the cat's ashes were in this tea, by the way. You know, like all you're just horrified.
And we're like, what the fuck was that? So we let him go, right? Brooke gives him the tour and goes, okay, well, I got to go back in, Robbie. You have a great day. Goodbye. And we're trying to do the trivia game next. And we're looking, and the little rectangular window on studio doors that you can kind of peek in.
Yeah.
Rob Schneider's peeking in like, kind of like, can I come back in, right? And so we have to ignore Rob Schneider at this point. We're like, don't nobody look at him. Just he's gonna.
There's no way this was a bit, right?
No.
Like, okay.
Or maybe if it was for his own fucking like.
That's what
I'm
I
so
mean.
rich now. Maybe I can.
Which
get away
would
with
be
this.
funny if like he's just like, how uncomfortable can I make radio people?
So here's the last part of the story. That doesn't end there, right? Then he's wandering around. We have a giant like clear glass room where all the meetings take place for like any corporate meeting, corporates in town. We have serious meetings, sales meetings are in there. It's a big room, and it's like you can see it on your exit. So we heard back after this. Apparently, on his way out, he's walking by. There's a sales meeting. So there's like 20 people, all salespeople. These are not radio personalities. These are like serious, the business people. And he walks by. He sees a full room. And he opens the door and he's like, hey, everyone, why the serious faces? You guys are doing radio. You should be all smiling, having a good time. And the whole room is like, is that Rob Schneider? Like, what the fuck is going on right now? And he's like, all right, well, bye. I guess he took a couple pictures. Like, he just interrupted our sales meeting and was like, hi, I'm Rob Schneider. Why is no one smiling in this room? And again, his energy was great. He was having a good time, but it was so like awkward, weird, you know? Like we were like, that wasn't necessarily fun, but at the same time, I'm never gonna forget everything that just happened. The hour that Rob Schneider like trolled our whole radio station. And then apparently he left, and you know, now I see him in his like super crazy far right wing, you know, he started to get into stuff like that too, but you know, we're not a political show, so we didn't really go down that road. But no, it's really funny. And again, it's one of those things where he was nice. I think he got upset at me because I made a couple of jokes like off of what he was saying, like kind of making fun of him, like, oh yeah, because everybody needs like a personal tea maker, right?
Yeah.
And a whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hey, I know you're trying to kid, but I'm being serious about this.
This is very important.
And I'm like, oh, no, I'm sorry, Rob, like, blah, blah, blah. And so he wasn't like rolling with my punches very much.
Yeah.
But again, he wasn't disrespectful or rude.
Should have asked him if he tested the cat. You know? He ate that cat, you know?
But I'm like, and the fact that he was laughing the whole time, I'm like, what is like, it's just random, but it's not funny. You know?
What would be funny about that?
I don't know. I think he just thought it's like the irony of like a random fucking feral cat sneaking into someone's house. And then my buddy strangled it to death. Isn't that like, I don't know. I don't know what the funny is.
That's just Asperger's or something.
Something weird, bro. Yeah, something weird. So anyway, shout out to Rob Schneider. You're probably the most memorable interview of my life. And again, he was nice to everyone. He was almost too nice. It was like bugging everybody. He didn't want to leave.
He's going to like comment on this.
Yeah, most artists come in and they want to get in and out as soon as they can.
Sure.
Like
he was like, no, I'm here to stay.
Yeah, he's like, no, you guys, I got you. Like, what's up? You want more from me? And we're like, no, we're good. And it's like, no, I'm going to give you more. And we're like, oh, okay, Rob Schneider.
He was available for interview for a reason.
Yeah, that's true, right? That's true. That's why Adam Sandler wasn't available.
Yeah.
Hey, if you like that video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and follow our page for new weekly content.